The Paradox of Agile Governance, a systematic review and conceptual framework for distinguishing substantive agility from symbolic theatre. The study is co-authored by Shahril Ishaq Ismail, and it explores a critical question in contemporary corporate governance. Is agility in governance real, or is it merely symbolic? So this is the structure of the presentation. I'm going to start with research motivation, research gap, then followed by research objective, methodology, key theoretical lenses for this research, key findings, practical implications, and last but not least, the conclusion. So over the past decade, we have seen a growing demand for agile boards, especially in responses to digital disruption, crisis, and sustainability pressures from the stakeholders. Boards today frequently claim to be adaptive, flexible, and responsive. However, our motivation stems from an important observation. There is often a gap between what boards say and what they actually do. So this leads to our central concern: when is agility genuinely embedded in governance practices, and when is it simply rhetorical? While prior studies discuss agile governance, most of them treat agility as inherently positive and taken for granted. There is a limited conceptual clarity distinguishing real capability-driven agility versus symbolic or cosmetic forms of agility. Importantly, existing research lacks an integrated theoretical lens to explain why organizations appear agile without actually being agile. This unresolved tension forms the core research gap addressed in our study. So based on this research gap, our study has three main objectives. First one is to distinguish substantive agility from what we term agility theater. Second, to integrate multiple governance and organizational theories to explain this distinction. And third, to develop a diagnostic conceptual framework that can be used by boards, investors, and regulators. In short, our aim is not to reject agility, but to clarify its substance. Methodologically, we employed a systematic literature review using a PRISMA protocol, research scopus, and Web of Science, focusing on governance, agility, and board-related studies. So after screening and performing eligibility assessment, our final sample consisted of 142 articles. So this approach ensures transparency, replicability, and theoretical robustness. To explain the paradox of agile governance, we draw on three complementary theories. First one is dynamic capabilities theories, which explain how boards build sensing, seizing, and reconfiguring capabilities. Second, paradox theory, which helps us understand how boards manage tensions between stability and flexibility. Third, institutional legitimacy theory, which explains why organizations may adopt agility symbolically to gain external approval. So together, these lenses allow us to explain both genuine agility and symbolic compliance. Our analysis reveals two distinct pathways of agile governance. The first is substantive agility, characterized by capability building, continuous learning, and adaptive decision making. So the second pathway is agility theater, where agility is performed through cosmetic changes, formal compliance, and symbolic gestures without behavioral change. Importantly, both pathways may look similar on the surface, but their outcomes and governance quality differ significantly. Based on these findings, we propose a conceptual framework that differentiates substantive agility from agility theater. The framework links board capabilities, learning mechanisms, and institutional pressures. It shows how boards may shift between substance and symbolism depending on incentives, monitoring, and organizational culture. This paper provides a diagnostic lens rather than one size fits all prescription. So, our study offers several practical implications. For boards, the framework can be used as a self diagnostic tool to reflect on whether agility is truly embedded. For investors, it provides a basis for governance quality assessment beyond formal disclosures. For policymakers, it highlights the need to focus on substance over compliance, especially in governance reforms. So, to conclude our study shows that agile governance is not always what appears to be. Agility can be real or symbolic, and boards must actively manage this paradox. So we call for future research and empirically validate the framework across different governance and contexts. Ultimately, agility should be treated as a capability, not a performance. With that, thank you very much, and we welcome your questions and suggestions.